1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to episode 3 of The Balcony. Today we're very lucky to be here with a very special guest. We got Martin Lee.
Hello everyone.
Hello Martin. Martin is a filmmaker in the tech space, and I've had the pleasure of personally working with him at Trojan Vision
For a whole year.
For a whole year, yeah.
For a whole year.
I can tell that this guy has a lot of valuable stuff to share. So really excited and very happy that Martin was able to get to the podcast.
Appreciate that nice introduction. We also have Daniel joining us behind the camera.
I'm right here, guys. I'm watching secretly.
Yeah, so pretty much hit a lot up from Cupertino. That's where I'm working right now. I'm taking a gap year from USC for my final semester. But wanted to kind of join in the podcast. Thought The Balcony was super cool and it was a nice production, so I wanted to join on that. So thank you for the invitation.
Of course, man. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I guess we got to start off with the elephant in the room, really.
Yeah.
Which, first I want to start off by telling people a little bit about what you do right now. So
yeah, sure.
You mentioned that you took a leave of absence from school. You want to tell them why?
Yeah. So by the time in my third year of school, so technically I should be in my fourth year. I only have one semester left, so 7 semesters total. But during my junior year, I think my second semester, I was really telling myself like, it's really now or never with internships or my jobs. If I want to get my career straight, that I probably should start applying for jobs like hardcore. I think I started doing that my freshman year, kind of low key, but I had my gig at Netflix and everything. But my third year, I was really putting my wheels to the ground and I applied to 800 jobs. And Apple called me back, so that's where I'm working right now for a year, and I should be back as well. That's what I'm taking my
I think key word over there, applied to 800 jobs.
Yes, sir.
Right? So anyone out there that's thinking, they're just going to apply to their dream job and they're just going to get it,
That's not happening.
So any tips you want to give people who are out there, maybe they want to get, those internships that everyone's looking after. So what tips can you give people that are going through those roles?
Yeah, for sure. That's an excellent question. So a lot of people ask me, obviously, when I posted on my Instagram. Now that I think about it, it's kind of cringe. But after my job kind of thing was official, a lot of people ask me how I did it, and basically what I told them is pretty much the number of applications. And I think it's kind of a toxic cycle now that everybody's applying to jobs that they're not like super interested in. And the recruiters don't see you as a sincere applicant, and just because there are so many insincere applications, they don't get considered, they don't go through the AI round, and everybody kind of it gets worse and worse every year. But what I try to tell people is, be selfish in terms of applying to as many jobs as possible that even remotely applies to you, so because you never know what job you're gonna get a call back from. So that's why I applied to 800. I use Excel spreadsheets with ChatGPT for helping with cold calls. A lot of it was automated, so I was able to cold call like about 1,000 people. And yeah, for 800 jobs, I think.
So can you talk a little bit about? Just curious, how did you automate that process where you can cold call?
Yeah, for sure. So there's basically like a mass email composing like tool on Gmail, and you can link that with Google spreadsheets. And all you have to do is have the email addresses and replace their name and have your cold call message, and pretty much with one click of button you can send up to like 1,000 emails at once. So there's a bunch of YouTube tutorials on that. I wouldn't go too deep in this right now, but yeah, that's how it kind of started.
And in your learning, in your application process, were you ever discouraged, and did you ever think like it's never going to work out at some point?
Yeah, for sure. So I think at first I was being rejected by companies that I didn't think was going to reject me. So not the biggest companies in the world, but and especially for jobs that I thought I was very qualified for. So some things that I've been working on for a long time, like video editing, I thought I had a lot of expertise on it, but it's really all about how you sell yourself in a corporate literary way. So like you have to be very literate in the corporate culture and be able to send in a resume that looks good and has good content, but also is in a format that makes sense for everybody that's reading your resume.
Okay, so that kind of reminds me of something. So I remember that something you were particularly interested in talking about was corporate culture. So I know, just from an internship that I did myself last year, I know that the culture that you have at a company can vary widely from company to company.
For sure.
But regardless of that, what are some general things that you think in corporate America are looked out for? So like, some tips, some qualities in people, anything like that you have to mention.
Right. I think I'm going to be like really honest here when I say if you want to be in the corporate life where stability, safety, and comfortability is emphasized, like that is completely your choice of freedom. And I'd say go for it, and I respect and admire that. And I'm currently in that lifestyle as well. But I think internships are really good in terms of free trialing around different companies because no strings attached. You don't have to work there forever. But you also get to test out the waters with corporate culture. So kind of going back to your question about what is looked out for in terms of corporate culture, I think a lot of companies want you to be obviously competent and hardworking, but most importantly, they want you to be like, I think, obedient and sort of being able to work with others without kind of having your own decentralized mindset too much because at the end of the day, it's a company, it's a community. And the business is obviously important just as much as your self-improvement.
Right.
So I think it's both. So it's both end of the spectrum.
Got it. So I think something. Well, so you happen to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So would you consider yourself? You're a filmmaker in the tech space right now. So that's a really interesting intersection.
Right.
Filmmaking and tech. Are happen to be two things that I'm personally also very passionate about.
Right.
So can you, was there always an interest in that intersection, or is that something that you just find yourself gravitating from film towards film, making film for the tech industry?
Yeah. These are all really good questions. I think personally, there's a lot of people in the film industry, like at least from the people around me, that I thought, you can't. They're not really mutually exclusive in that you can't really be into film and be good at film without knowing the technical side of things. And like if you're really into the technological things, let's say you're doing even in the iPhone, for example, like a lot of the camera things, the camera specs.
Excuse that. You're on the balcony after all.
Yeah, just edit that real quick. Even if you're in the technical side of things, whether it's CS or you're really working for Apple, like on the iPhone or something, a lot of that still relates back to the camera side of things because so many things, and they're just very interconnected. So, that's why it's a good question. But for me, I think since I was a young age, I always wanted to kind of get myself involved with new frontiers and new technology. And it started off as me getting my first computer when I was 10 years old, and my MacBook Air. I started gaming around on Minecraft, and that's how a lot of the white hackers end up starting, like by making their own Minecraft mods on Java and stuff. But I didn't go through that route. Instead, I decided to make gaming videos. And I made videos on Minecraft, on League of Legends, and all these other things. And I got into screen recording and how can I optimize bit rates. How do I stream on OBS without losing my frame rate? How do I build a computer so I can do what I love, film and other things like that. So I think I naturally stepped myself into the technical side of things, and then it didn't stop with computers. It went to ND filters. It went to microphones, podcasts or cameras or anything like that. So there's so much you can look into, and there's always an overlap. So if you want to be in the tech space but you're kind of specializing in film, there's many ways to do it. Like you could focus on a camera and a product, or you could be doing marketing promotional, so you could be on Marcom, or you could just be doing social media side of things, a production company, third party. Like there's many ways to break into the tech industry as a film / an art person, and I think I was just one of the prototypes, or one of the examples of that.
So obviously the viewers probably know by now that you went to, and I guess still are technically going to USC for film.
Yes, sir.
So all the filmmakers out there, like myself, who aren't necessarily film majors but are still very passionate about film, and might possibly even see themselves having a career in it somehow. What kind of advice could you give them that could help them maybe get their foot in the door or get the right contacts, or get the right networks, or maybe even just get the right idea of what it is that they need to do to be able to produce films that are, you know, being played on streaming platforms and etc.
Entirely, yes. So I think, yeah, certainly. I think a lot of the, especially at USC, there's a lot of people who aren't film majors, like, or prod majors, that like want to make it to film sets, or, you know, do student sets, or get into prod classes or whatever it is, which definitely makes sense. But I think it's really about what you do on your own term, with your own time and with your friends. Like student sets at USC, like, I think it's often too glorified. I think it's a lot of the experiences are obviously important that you get around campus, or in class with professors. They're all really good. I think they're valuable, and USC Film School is very good for that. But even if you're not in film school or majoring in film necessarily, like you said, I think you have equal chances in terms of making it as a filmmaker. There's so many good resources. Like if you go on Sundance right now, there's an incubator program, an accelerator program to, you know, give filmmakers, young filmmakers, grants and free Adobe subscriptions. And you know, life is what you make of it. Film school is what you make of it, and you know, all of education in film as well. And I think the same thing goes for a filmmaking career. It doesn't have to be, you know, what major you're in. I think there's many ways to break into the film industry that if you just work hard enough and you keep your, you know, horizon wide enough, you should be able to spot opportunities.
And just to add to that, I feel like, you know, 30 years ago, if somebody wanted to, you know, break into film, the barriers, there were a lot more barriers.
Impossible. Yeah.
There's no online, you know, platforms. There's no social media. There's no YouTube. Really, the only way to get eyeballs on your work is to do it, you know, the professional way, get it produced and everything. So I think we really are entering a different time in that respect, where now we're able to, you know, anyone with, you know, an iPhone is really able to make something that is worth watching. You know, it's at least a minimally viable product, right? They can create something that someone can watch and enjoy. So, you know, from that regard, I do think it's a really interesting time that we live in. You know, and this applies to other people as well, people other than, you know, upcoming filmmakers. But I think especially for filmmakers, there's a lot of opportunities now more than ever, right?
For sure, man. Yeah, a lot of opportunities, low barrier, entrance barriers, and like you said, story is king. Like filmmaking is all about story, just telling the stories. So in my opinion, once you have the tech, like, I mean, we have an FX3 and an A7C today, so, you know, we're sitting in a balcony with two guys plus Daniel, and we're just chilling out here. We're just chilling out here, and we're getting content, and that would have never happened, like you said, 30 years ago. So I think there's a lot of things that you can do. I know the incubator program is just one of the examples of many countless ways you can get in without having to be a film major. And the other way around too. Like the last question was literally film people trying to get into tech, right? Or now this question is tech people getting into film. So I think the film people strive for the consistency and the stability in a 9 to 5, or being a software engineer, being a big tech company, just being able to have those benefits. While a lot of filmmakers are, you know, often blue collar, or they're working on sets, or a lot of physical labor involving a lot of risks when it's just, you know, physical or time, or in general just career wise. But so it definitely offsets strengths and weaknesses for both sides. But I think in this day and age, with all these decentralized resources and technology, you can go either way. You can jump from tech to film to tech, or from any industry to any other industry, because there's so many resources out there.
Since we're speaking about film, have you heard about, I'm sure you've heard about it, like, have you seen what they're doing with Unreal Engine, how they're using it to shoot? What are your thoughts on that? I personally thought that was really interesting.
So when you say Unreal Engine, are you just talking about like virtual cameras and?
You know, like how, like I think they did that for The Mandalorian, where they literally have, like, instead of having, you know, a studio with green screens and then doing all of that in post, they have a big ass LED screen, LCD screen, and they're in real time creating those environments, and they're just shooting. And I think, again, that goes to a conversation we were having earlier. Technology is just getting so much better. Like, you know, we were talking about this earlier, and I was like, you know, there's always better camera, there's always better glass, and then you mentioned, you know, well, at some point, you know, there's that kind of stops, and that barrier to entry, the cost is getting lower and lower, like year by year. So I think for anyone who's interested in in film, like, you don't need to have the best camera, you don't need to have the best equipment. It sure helps, but your idea is really what matters at the end of the day, right? Films and series aren't sold to networks and publishers just because they had good quality.
For sure.
They're sold because they had good stories, good writing, good
Exactly.
script. They're captivating.
That's very true. I have a question for both of you guys, since both of you guys are camera guys, really. What's some AI tools you guys are using that is accelerating your guys' ability to edit and make content faster?
Yeah, can I start?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
Midjourney for sure, and Dolly definitely is good. But I think Kyber AI, obviously I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but Kyber AI is pretty awesome. I believe it's not free, but there's still like free trial tokens that you can use, and you can sign up with multiple accounts. So that's what I've done for a lot of my content, and just by realizing how much AI can replace, and going back to the same note of virtual production and those LED screens and even Unreal Engine, it's all the same thing. And the first on the chopping block is 3D animation. So I don't know what Pixar is thinking, but it's got to be quick on their feet. It's 3D animation, and then it could be like real production, like real life production, or like cost optimization. So instead of actually flying your whole crew out to Hawaii for a week, you can just shoot it in in like a virtual production studio with a fake LED screen, right?
Right.
They're getting so good now, so that, but later on, even after that, I think it's only reality TV shows that are going to survive this whole craziness, because you even see the actors and their what's called acting being like simulated on computers, and just by seeing that, like, I think the most simplest application of that right now is the voice actor kind of thing for corporate videos, and you have these fake people like kind of acting in the videos. Yeah, it's like
a human that looks like a human, but it's not.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something that's really funny. I forget if there's like a phenomena or whatever the name is, but the closer you actually get to artificially creating a human, the eerier it looks. Have you heard about that before?
the weirder it looks.
The eerier it looks.
Eerier.
Like, the closer you get.
What do you mean by eerier?
Yeah, what do you mean by eerie?
So like it just looks strange.
Really?
Like if you if you have like, I know for some games, like they even purposefully try to make the characters a little less realistic.
Yeah.
Because if it's fully animated and it's super realistic, that apparently freaks people out, but it just looks a little weird to some people.
Dang.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it kind of makes sense. I don't know what it is, but we have this intrinsic ability to identify a real human being.
Yeah.
And I guess AI hasn't gotten good enough yet to create something that might fool our eyes. But who knows, and who's to say when that's going to change?
Yeah. Maybe. I think let's say 5 or 10 years it gets near to perfect, but you may have just defeated my whole argument. But I'm just thinking, like, let's just assume that it becomes real to the point that it's believable.
It has to at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe.
Does that scare you? Thinking about, like, if we are able to have some new technology that's developing, your entire ads, movies, and so on, that's completely AI generated, and we can't even tell.
I see the age.
Doesn't that mean that AI is secretly maybe like brainwashing us? Like it's a very futuristic idea. It might be foolish to say right now, but do you think that's going to happen? And if so, like, what could go wrong?
Right. I mean, Hollywood's on strike right now, the writers.
Oh, really?
So
That's right.
They're already trying to replace people. So let's say AI is out, and then we can have like fully AI produced movies that look pretty real to us. That means we won't need sets anymore. And sets are expensive, man. Overtime, double time, people, like food, all expensive stuff. So all that together, if the producers or directors, executive producers, whatever, figure out that we don't need people anymore, and a lot of that's automated, like a lot of things are automated already, it's kind of scary. And in the future, that's what I'm thinking, reality TV may be the only winners here. Like, I know both of our mentor is JD Roth, like the king of reality TV show. Shout out to JD. But seriously, like, just knowing that people are always interested in what other people do, and that's kind of like the human nature, curiosity. I think that's why reality TV is going to survive. And some name brand actors, you can't really replace them with AI images or AI acting. People may still want to watch, like Tom Cruise or something like that, right? It's not like maybe you can simulate Tom Cruise, a younger version of him, even better, I guess. I don't know, but just like how they're simulating Kanye West singing right now, like so how similar it is. And Kanye West would actually be making profit off of that. So just like Tom Cruise can actually sell his face and sell his acting style for money, which is a win-win for all of us because he doesn't have to show up. He gets to sell his royalty.
And theoretical question, I guess you've already answered it, but I totally see somewhere down the line, you know, actors selling the rights to their image to production companies that can literally just create their image just because people know that, and they don't even have to. They don't have to come to the.
They're selling their brand as a royalty.
And what does that turn out for?
To say that wouldn't continue after.
And what does that mean for new actors coming in? You know, like, you know, if you have older actors that we can, you know, regenerate their faces and keep putting them on the screen, wouldn't it? I think it would make it harder for new actors, rising actors too, right?
For sure. Rising actors are in the toughest spot because established actors, you have a brand and a royalty to go off of. So in the future, we can have like another Shark Tank saying like, you're selling yourself out there like as a brand royalty deal. You're like selling your brand. But I guess in the future, like maybe the true replacement of all of this is like, I don't know if you've seen Riot Games League of Legends KDA, but yeah. So KDA is basically like a fake K-pop style. So KDA is basically like a fake like K-pop style. Like a female band, pretty much.
Okay.
So it's like 4 women that are completely 3D animated or 2D animated. It's both actually. And there you have the image up. So that's what it looks like. So those ladies have been getting all the love in the internet, which is actually crazy because it's not just the men that's like into these images. It's actually like a real fandom of their singing. Although their singing is fake, right? Because it's like from a different singer. But all this computer animated images coming together with actual singing, it could be a new form of art where
creating an actual personality.
Exactly. So maybe in the future, Tom Cruise may not even be needed. Maybe in the future, people want to see more people like KDA. And actually, I believe ITZY or New Jeans, or not New Jeans. There's another group that's based on like. Daniel, do you have any idea? Okay, he doesn't have any idea. There's another group in K-pop, like in real life, that's based on that concept. Oh, I think it's aespa, AESPA. I'm pretty sure whoever knows any K-pop would know exactly what I'm talking about and fits exactly into this analogy. But I'm just saying, like, if that's already happening in real life to us, someday, sometime, like a lot of these characters may even receive more love than a lot of the rising actors that are being replaced right now. So that's possible.
Talking about these guys right
here? I think that I'm really looking forward to is like, back in the day you had dubbings and they were weird, but I know someone's gotta be working on this, like dubbing, but the lips are like AI synced to make it look natural, as if that movie was shot and filmed in that language. I feel like that.
It's been getting better.
We should probably be able to do that right now with technology that's present. So I'm just free idea for anyone out there that will become Filmmaker.
Dubbing?
Yeah. With AI, so it's like lip sync.
I think dubbing in AI is already there. With the thing that I talked about, the corporate spokesperson face, corporate spokesperson AI.
Are they using that for like, Hollywood films or like blockbuster films?
No, not at all, obviously.
Like, but someone's gonna do that eventually.
Yeah.
I feel like that there's an opening right there.
I would imagine either deepfakes or some sort of advanced CGI that was used in Avengers Endgame, where Stanley comes on as a cameo, and Stanley was on a cameo for all the Marvel movies, right? But Endgame was supposed to be the last in the series, and Stanley was deceased by then, I believe, but he was still part of the movie because not because it was shot like beforehand in advance, but because like he was computer generated. So I think they spent a good amount of money in that shot, but I think that could happen in the future.
Yeah, definitely very interesting times we're heading towards in regards to AI. I mean, less than 8 months ago, nobody knew what ChatGPT was.
Exactly, dude.
And I remember seeing it and being like, holy fuck, this thing is crazy. And then 2 weeks later, it feels normal, right?
But that's the new world we live in now. I feel like school's never going to be the same after ChatGPT. And I feel like a lot of professors and a lot of students have like professors, especially the old school professors, they're like, in-person like in-person exams and all, but having ChatGPT around, that's a new adaptation, right? But in one last statement, how do you think we can utilize AI? Like just AI for editing, just any tools that you recommend people to look into?
Yeah. Well, why don't you start off with the one that you're using right now?
Well, I don't know if yeah, actually I'm using something right now. So this video, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll probably see that it's like a shot of just me and Martin on the balcony. But there's actually like a divider in the middle because I'm shooting.
I think show them a little bit. You just put your hand in there or something.
Using AI for, Photoshop's new feature generated fill. You can just, for static shots, you can cover up something. So that's just like one way that editing is really, this is something that wasn't really possible like a few months ago, really. Yeah. And now it's like becoming reality. So
you could have still done it, like achieved the same effects.
You could have, but it would have been a lot of fun. I don't think I would have known how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And now it's like it's so accessible that we're able to pull off these effects. Yeah. That would take us a lot of manual time. But
literally one button on the new Photoshop beta.
Exactly.
Have you tested it out?
Yeah, the generative.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like it's not good enough to where you can do anything with it, but it's getting there. It's gonna get there somehow.
I don't think the audience would believe us if we told them that there's a huge...
Yeah, maybe if I put my hands through here.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying before.
Then they can see it.
It's kind of crazy. Like they're making like the most use out of a small space, like that we have here. Like I didn't put that.
Going back to not needing to have the best studio, the best equipment, just trying to work with what you have and working with it, get crafty with it. Yeah. Use AI if you can somehow to make it better. Yeah. Use all the tools at your disposal. That's kind of my MO right now.
Yeah, going back to Daniel's question, I think in the short term, the AI stuff that you can use for production is maybe not up to par for professional or like client work, but I still think a lot of the simple tasks that we would normally spend a lot of manual labor could be simplified. So pretty much it's just like we're doing here, generator fill. Like that's saving us a lot of editing time. And on Premiere Pro, I believe there's new editing softwares too. I mean, this has already existed before, but pretty much matching video and audio. So we're able to just go in without manually syncing anything. That's already done in a second. And there's other stuff like making like initial cuts, like rough cuts with like. Let's say if you have like 3 cameras in an interview, it makes you like automatic cuts and based on suggestions. So I think that's pretty cool. It can save you time if you're making quick content that does not need too much tailoring. I believe it can save you a lot of time. But in the next 5 to 10 years, this is what's going to replace a lot of traditional production. Yeah. So you have to innovate. Yeah.
And another really good AI tool, I guess, is have you used Adobe's Enhanced Speech?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I got these mics before that came out. Yeah. But I guarantee you, if you like gave me 2 clips, one which was just recorded on an iPhone and put through Enhanced Speech, I don't think I'd be able to tell you the difference.
Wow.
Like, it's really good.
Dang.
So like, just for anyone out there who's interested in doing anything, like start looking into what resources are available to you and just go for it. You'll get better with every iterative episode or whatever that you do.
They let you skip a lot of steps and save you a lot of money. So it depends on your research and your ability to stay hungry and look for those tools, I guess. A lot of them are free and free trials, free tokens, whatever. But also beware for a lot of gimmicks because like those resolution enhancement AI type of thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
1080p to 6K
or
some shit. Like that's not gonna work, guys. So,
I guess it goes without saying, but like anytime there's a new field, like we saw this with crypto in the years prior, people were going nuts. It was a buzzword, right? Crypto this, crypto that. Doesn't mean, there was a lot of scams there. That doesn't mean crypto is bad as an industry. It just means that whenever there's a new thing, people are gonna try and use it for a scam. Yeah. Same thing with AI. I'm sure there's people using claims of something AI for scams as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that for sure.
So let's say we have like a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old watching this right now, and they don't know anything about filming. Let's say you went back to when you were 16. Both of you guys, since both of you guys are camera guys here. What is some guidelines you would have for these folks to look into, step through, like step-by-step process, or is there one in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'll go first. I'd say spend about a month doing everything you possibly can with an iPhone, with like 2 iPhones. So I'm pretty sure if you don't have like a scrap of iPhone, like just running around in your house, I think I would say like use one iPhone that you already have and buy a cheap iPhone off the Amazon or something. Use one for audio, use the better one for camera. Do everything you can for a month. Learn as much as you can, and once you're ready, I'd say buy a full-frame camera, whatever that looks like.
Save up for it. You're gonna love it every time you look at the footage through the camera.
Yeah, don't fall for the Lumix Panasonic 4K type of shit, because that's Micro Four Thirds sensor is gonna kill you.
Yeah, all
We're sponsored.
I think people don't realize that.
I think Martin is sponsored. Okay.
Guys, it's honestly like the resolution, and there's so much gimmick words about resolution.
Yeah.
There's more important things like bitrate, right? Or color science. There's or S-log or V-log, but a lot of those phrases are just being thrown around. So anyway, yeah, the Sony full-frame camera, invest in that, and the rest, just simple things like that let you keep the film grounder. So I'd say like a monopod or tripod, and then you're good to go. Like honestly, you're good to go after that, unless you're gonna do some crazy documentary style film that you need like audio shit.
Yeah.
That's good enough setup.
For me, I would really just I have 2 words like start filming.
Yep.
People overthink these things too much. Myself included. This podcast, I ordered these mics like months before I started.
Yeah.
I ordered all the equipment, and then I just kept thinking about, how am I gonna frame the scene? Where are the people gonna sit? How am I gonna light it? And you just keep thinking about these things.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but this man's been talking about this podcast, like starting it since like 2021 or 2022 or something. Anyway, a long time ago. And I was in JD's class with him. I'm a TA. He's a showrunner in that class, and he'd be talking about it every day. I'm like, dude, literally, that was a day and age where everybody was jumping into podcasts. I'm like,
I feel like
come
you
on,
still are, man.
you're not starting another one out here on the internet. I was like, bro, you're not. There's no way. And obviously, I didn't say that to him at the time, but then when I saw him like filming, taking action, and posting, I was like, God damn, this man really proved me wrong with his brother.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, taking action, man. That's what.
Damn, those are really real comment right there. I like that. But also, I want to go back and another question I had when you were answering the question. Aman, are you done with your advice for the step-by-step process for beginners looking to? You just said start filming, right?
Yeah.
That was your advice.
Yeah, I would just say start filming. Even if you don't have an idea of what you want to make, every video that you finish filming and editing yourself, you get that much better.
Box.
A lot of people think with uploading YouTube videos, for example, my first YouTube video was not as good as my second one. My second one was not as good as my third one, and so on. So, I feel like people really need to understand that getting better at anything in life is an iterative process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's something that you're going to have to keep working towards, and you're going to see gradual changes. And if you're not willing to be satisfied with those gradual changes that mount up over time, you're not going to get anywhere with anything.
Yeah.
And sorry, I wanted to add a question since we're at 35 minutes right now. Okay. Something else, as somebody who's not really a pro at cameras like you guys are, what do you guys look at when you look at cameras, like the specs for, let's say I wanted to buy a camera right now. How would you decide, a camera's quality in reference to, your usage? How would you determine this is the camera you need?
In reference to what?
So let's say you want to, of course, I would,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I assume if you want to film a podcast or you want to take it on a record hikes, you got a GoPro. My question is, how do you decide what camera is the right camera for you?
So the camera that's the right camera for you is the one you have. Right? I feel like we've all heard that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you have some money saved up, it depends on your budget. Honestly, I would say film with the phone until you have enough money to buy a full frame. There's no need to get stuck in between. Just keep saving up, keep using your phone until as long as you have to. And when you do end up getting a camera, I would say a full frame you can't really go wrong with. So I like Sony. We both seem to be on the same page about that. I think I love the image that comes straight out of the camera for sure. But yeah, so that's a really subjective question. But yeah, I would say for most people, the camera that you have is the camera that's the best one for you.
Yeah, let me just add to that and say that this is not just straight up gear talk where people who may not be interested in gear, because it's really about like freedom of creation, and being able to produce something yourself. It's like your ticket through the entrance barrier. So, with 2023, a lot of it's just about decentralization. So it started off with DeFi, right, which is decentralized finance. It started with Bitcoin, and then decentralized computing, which is like everybody has their personal computer. So now instead of having to go into a room of like supercomputers just to do one simple calculation, you can have a small iPhone that does the exact same thing, right? Now you have the iPhone, you have the camera. You don't have a 50 people crew operating a massive cinema camera. So it's like a ticket through the entrance barrier to create what you want. Just like financial freedom, vocational freedom, it's like almost like freedom for creating something, you know, freedom of production, I guess, freedom of creation.
So I understand you're saying it's more about the art you record than what you're using recording it.
Yeah, so I guess what we're saying is like once you have like a full frame shooter that's good enough to produce a professional image, that's your ticket to creation, and then you're good. Like, I'm not saying like you should stop investing in yourself after you know, learn everything you can do with that gear. I think reinvesting into the business and yourself is important, but I'm just saying like the important part is just knowing when you have that ticket and just stop making excuses and go doing things. Right? That's the most important.
Exactly. Okay, I know we're running a little short on time, so before we end this though, as a filmmaker, I do want to ask you this question. What are your top 3 films? I know that's a hard one.
Yeah.
But top 3 films, or maybe top 5 if there's more that you want to mention.
Yeah.
I think he has a 4th one, and you can find that pretty much anywhere on the internet, you know?
So I have a spreadsheet of my top 50 films and film scenes. So it's got everything. It's even got timestamps. But I don't want to pull that up right now because I just want to go with what I have off the top of my head. And number 1 is definitely Barbie. Just kidding.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Just messing.
I haven't even seen it, so I couldn't say.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a lot of hate for Barbie right there, man. I think some folks love Barbie who watch it, man.
No, I'm just messing with y'all. I actually have not even watched Oppenheimer yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I haven't watched that.
I'm looking forward to watching that one.
Yeah, so I don't know about Barbie or Oppenheimer, but honestly, like, I'm just saying this to get you guys on the algorithm. I'm just kidding. Honestly, I think my favorite growing up was with Pixar's. I don't know if you guys know Pete Docter, but he basically created the Monsters universe in Pixar. Okay. So Monsters University and Monsters Inc. And I had a DVD that I rewatched so many times I stopped working at one point. Is for Monsters Inc. and it was a movie that came out on my birthday. So exactly my birthday, 2001. That's been my favorite movie so far, and it was always my favorite movie throughout my childhood. That's kind of since that's top 1. But the other ones, I'd say Steven Spielberg, War Horse. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's turned into a musical as well, but it's a great film by Spielberg. Obviously, go watch it. It's great. It's gonna make grown men cry. So it's
that's good. I like to say, as long as your film can make people feel something,
exactly.
Doesn't have to make them feel good.
The power to inspire, right? That's what I guess it's the power to inspire, right?
Yeah. Those are my top 2, but
Okay. Well, we don't get a top 3rd one.
Top 3rd is
Shutter Island. Just kidding.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Chance Entertainment.
Whoa, man! I'm gonna start blushing right here, bro.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
No, but I do. We also watched what's the first movie? Monsters?
Monsters Inc.
Yes, Monsters Inc. That's right. We watched that movie so many times.
Really?
So many times in repeat, to bro. Like,
really?
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody agree
dude,
with me
we watched that a couple times, like a couple hundred times
we
as
used
well.
to have like a CD in the car.
Bro!
I used to watch that.
We can relate to
There's
that.
no shot.
Yeah.
Yo, that's
I'm
crazy.
serious. The doors, dude. I love that little girl, walking through doors, and
Yeah.
That was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sullivan. Yeah, honestly, like, MU was also a very good movie. I think it's got an underrated story. It's a really good story. Especially as a college student, if y'all go watch that shit again, it's gonna resonate with you.
It's nostalgic now watching it, isn't it? It's nostalgic now. It's almost part of your childhood.
Was that the Monsters University though?
Sure.
Too,
It's
I
on
like
the
the
list.
original one better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Original's always better. They're both TikTokers, so it's a good film. But yeah, you wanna wrap us up and do an outro?
Okay, we'll do the outro.
Amazing.
Well, we've been here for about 40 minutes.
Wow, it's a long time.
So a long time, but it went by fast. I will say that. I'm again, really happy that you were able to make it in the podcast. I know you're a busy man.
Thank you guys for having
drove
me.
all the way down from Cupertino, so
Just for this,
shout out
guys.
for
Just
that.
for this.
And yeah, any last words you wanna depart with before we end the podcast?
Yeah, like the legendary man himself has once said, half of life is showing up, by JD. That's really fucking true, man.
You guys really love JD, don't you? What's your maybe JD is going to be watching this one day. What do you want to say to him, man? Let's go like that.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
That's
It's gonna happen.
This balcony right here.
At some point, yeah.
No.
During the semester, some Monday night.
No, seriously, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys better subscribe because that was a really good one.
So who is JD? Like, I mean, folks would have known. So like little
Crazy American.
Just go online, search JD Rock.
Yeah, he's the JD Rock. Okay.
He's the JD Rock.
He said, okay, he's getting mad. He's like, you don't know who he is.
The JD Rock. You don't know who he is. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well,
outro. Wow, this was a really good time that we just don't want to end it, but
yeah, we want to keep
struggling.
going and going, but the cameras are gonna go off, so we need to
Yeah.
stop this.
Yeah.
Well, off in the balcony.
Yeah, it was
Sorry, you should end it because you're
weekend. And to everyone who listened and tuned in, I hope you found what we talked about valuable. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in episode 40.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for having me. Thank you, Amon and Daniel, for having me, inviting me into your home.
Thank you for being here.
And yeah, one last shout out to Daniel. Daniel, say something.
I was just watching this view from the back. I've just been enjoying you guys talk about technology and cameras, and I've always been the guy who's asked Amon, Amon, please just edit this for me. I love you, bro. And I just begged him a lot.
Yeah,
so
I was doing this one in high school.
he was actually. Yeah, he was doing my homework. Now that I'm not in high school anymore, I can tell you guys.
Oh, that's funny. All right, we gotta end this.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Peace out from the podcast.
Adios. Do subscribe. I'm gonna be sad if you don't
Yes, sir.
subscribe.
I always like that.
All right, ciao,
That was
guys.
a great
Bye.
time. Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
everyone.